it's absolutely moved on from that time when it was a little bit of extra pocket money to an absolutely sustainable business for tutors, which is incredible because tutors are often teachers who have been burnt out at school. They know what their students need. They are passionate about their subject. They are experts in their subject. And for them, they say, I can finally teach in the way that I know works best for the children, that works well for me. And it's just such an amazing win-win.
Hello and welcome to the Driven Female Entrepreneur Podcast, the show that helps you dream bigger and achieve more in your business by learning what works from myself and other successful women in business. I'm your host, Melitta Campbell, award-winning business coach, value whisperer, and founder of the Dream Clients Blueprint, your step-by-step guide to communicating your true value with confidence and attracting more of your perfect fit clients. And if you are looking to take your business and impact to the next level, I actually have a very exciting offer for you. Over the summer months, I'm offering a select number of people the opportunity to follow phase 1 of my signature blueprint program so they can use the summer months to get ahead of the competition and at a special reduced price when you sign up by the 1st of July. Don't let your business momentum slip over the next couple of months. Instead, in just minutes a day, you'll get to create your dream business and future, become known for the results that you get for your clients, stabilize your income while working less, and develop the mindset for lasting results. If that sounds interesting, you can learn more and register via my website at melittacampbell.com/SBC. This offer is limited to the first 10 people who apply, so head over there today and secure your place for just £297. The full program is 15 times that price, so don't miss out on that opportunity. Go to melittacampbell.com/SBC and you'll find all the details there and the opportunity to apply and be one of those 10 people to work with me this summer. But meantime, let me introduce you to today's guest, Sandra Pyne. Sandra is a veteran international teacher, tutor, dyslexia specialist, and co-founder of Jigsaw Phonics Tutoring. After exiting the classroom herself after a long teaching career, she now helps passionate but usually exhausted phonics teachers and early literacy educators to set up their own tutoring businesses. On her mission to help children learn to read, one she shares with the educators in her membership, she has found the parallels between education and business have helped her in her own business journey. And they're helping her members to learn how to lean into their transferable skills, ones they often didn't even realize that they had, to become successful business people too. I am really looking forward to this discussion because we're going to look at exactly what it takes to build a tutoring business successfully, with lots of parallels for other service-based businesses as well. So hi Sandra, it's lovely to have you with us on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
And I'm looking forward to this discussion because we're going to talk about, or you're going to talk about, starting a tutoring business, which I know is so much needed in the world today. And teachers are overwhelmed and they're not necessarily able to give the quality of attention always to the students that they want to. So tutors can really fill that gap. So I think it's a beautiful business to start. And we'll talk more about that. And I love that I've had the privilege of following your progress with this business from the beginning and seeing how it's evolved and changed and grown and the impact it's having out there, which is really motivating. But before we dive into that, I'd love it if you could share with the audience a little bit about how you came to start this business and how you got to where you are today.
Well, it's a story really that comes out of my failure to tutor successfully, because when I got started, I didn't do it right. I didn't have the right business model. I assumed it would work in a way that didn't actually work for me. But I should probably rewind a bit because it's a story that comes around in a full circle. I started initially in educational publishing because I really enjoyed creating resources, and moved over to becoming a teacher And when I was in the classroom, I realized that it was really hard for a significant group of children to learn how to read and write in really easily. So I went off to train to become a dyslexia specialist, and I was tutoring a little bit in between because, you know, people needed dyslexia tutors. They were asking me to help them out. But I really failed at it because I had the wrong tutoring model. I was working one-to-one with students. I was spending an awful lot of time preparing materials. I was spending a lot of time traveling to teach them. And even though as a specialist dyslexia tutor, I could charge a very good hourly rate for the amount of hours that I put in, for the amount of pay that I got out at the end of it, just wasn't working. So it was a little bit of a failure. When I left teaching, because eventually I became that exhausted teacher, that was another small failure. I wanted to create some resources, which I did. I teamed up with a small team and we created some literacy activity books. And as business goes, they turned into something more, which was the Phonics program that we now use inside the membership. And I wanted to do something with that Phonics program. We were selling it into schools, teachers were loving it, the business landscape changed. Lots of other phonics programs were validated. So what happened there was teachers were loving what we had produced, but they were not able to use it because schools had to choose the validated phonics programs that the government had decided should be there. And it was at that point where I thought, we've got something good here. It would be a shame just not to do something with it. I think tutors could really use this. I kind of failed a bit at tutoring, so I know exactly what they need. I know how they need to do it. I know what business model they need. I know what resources they need. Why don't we turn this into a business idea? And this is actually how the membership was born. So from all these different little failures and all the experience I gathered along the way, we actually put it together, me and my small team. And we have the Tutor Like a Pro membership, and it is helping teachers turn tutors all around the world at the moment.
Oh, what a fantastic story. And, you know, it's so great that you're there to help people. You've kind of made the mistakes on their behalf. So they can have that shortcut, a bit like myself. You know, I made so many mistakes in my first business that taught me the right way to go about it, and all the steps I missed that I see so many people missing over and over again. It's like, right, okay, now I know how it should have been done in the first place, and I can share that knowledge, and it's really rewarding. And then you have that beautiful ripple effect as well, that you're helping tutors to help more children to read and enjoy reading and understand phonics and give that extra support. You were telling me an incredible statistic before we went live about if a child has tutoring, it adds 4 months onto, you tell it.
Yeah, tutoring is starting to really be accepted now as a way to really support children. And it's even in the UK, it's become normal in schools. Children are taught and then they go off in the afternoon and they work with tutors, which is something that coronavirus changed. The statistics, the research in really well-established peer-reviewed journals like Nature are showing that children who get tutored, even group tutoring, that's also incredibly effective, can gain 4 months of progress over a year compared to children who weren't tutored. And that's really, really super important when it comes to our specialism, which is literacy and reading. Because lots of parents think, it just takes a little bit of time, they'll catch up, it's going to be okay. But then all the research shows if the gap is small at the beginning, the gap gets bigger as time goes on. So time is really of the essence. So getting children tutored in literacy and phonics as soon as possible is really, really key for closing that gap in their achievement. And it's amazing now that the research is really showing this. This was not so common before coronavirus because tutoring really had a big leap over lockdown.
How incredible. 4 months extra. That's significant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I see with my kids as well, they've been learning to read in French. And even though they've only ever gone to school in French, reading in English always felt more natural for them. But I saw that it was their confidence that was being knocked. So I guess it's not just a case of having those skills so that gap isn't there in the first place to widen, but having that confidence, because reading really is the foundation of everything. Even maths, they have to read for the problems and have to understand these nuances. And in science, when they've got these complicated alien terms, if your reading isn't proficient, you really struggle with that. So yeah, it's incredible. When you told me that statistic, I was like, wow.
It's so important because, there is the process. You have to teach children to learn to read, and then they will read to learn. And it's that important thing, just tipping it over from one to the other. But you have to really get the basics solid first before, and they can actually take the information in that they're reading. And that's what a lot of the tutors, or all of the tutors in my membership, are working on, just giving them that confidence as well. You're so right about the confidence point. The fact that children don't feel like they're left alone, which can often happen in a class. Teachers are brilliant and they do an amazing job, but sometimes there are those children who are, in a class of 30, they get a little bit lost. So tutors, when they take children either one-to-one or in smaller groups, can give children the confidence that somebody's there, somebody's watching over them, they're showing them the strategies they need to learn. And sometimes that's actually all it takes for children to really make amazing progress. So tutoring is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, amazing. And coming back to your story a little bit, you mentioned that one of the biggest failures you had, perhaps, or biggest, we should reframe that, shouldn't we? One of the biggest lessons you had was all about how to structure a business model for a tutoring business so it is profitable, it is sustainable, and you can really thrive in that business. What does that look like? What is a successful tutoring business model?
The real successful tutoring business model is really leveraging the power of group tutoring. What happened in the past, it's been a process, is that tutors traveled individually to their students. They taught them one-to-one. They spent a lot of time preparing. They spent a lot of time traveling. They spent a lot of time teaching them. They couldn't see that many students. And then they moved on to phase 2, where the students came to their home. So they cut their traveling time down and helped more students. They realized, actually, I'm teaching the same lesson again and again. How about if those students come to me and I group them? And it's nicer for the children as well. There's a huge advantage in the peer learning environment. They learn from each other. It's not such a pressurized situation. And then, of course, COVID came and tutors went online, and they can just really help so many more people, so many more children. If you have got your hour of tutoring and you are helping 6 children in that hour, you would never be able to help 6 children in a day if you were tutoring one-to-one. So it's that whole process of thinking about how you can price and package your offer to make your business sustainable so you can keep helping more people. And the one thing that we work on in the membership is one-to-one tutoring is great, or paired tutoring when it's 1 to 2 students is also a great solution. But you have to figure out how much you can afford to do of each type of tutoring, because you have to build a business that's sustainable for you so you can keep helping people. If you love tutoring one-to-one, keep tutoring one-to-one, but you may need to add some other kinds of tutoring in just to keep your business sustainable so you can keep helping people. And I think that's been the big breakthrough, that it's not that old-fashioned, I go to somebody's house and teach them for the hour. It's they come to me and we do it in groups. And it's just full of advantages for tutors and for the children.
Yeah, and I see that echoed in a lot of the service-based businesses that I help, and particularly coaches. And I see it myself when I'm working one-to-one. It's so intense for me and the client. It's a lot of pressure on both sides, but in the group, the pressure is off, as you were saying. It's more fun. You have that social support and encouragement as well. And it works so much better. And then you can actually build a sustainable business, as you say, that pays you a decent wage. Plus, you have that bigger impact. And I think all teachers go into their profession because they really care about helping people. So why help one person when you can help 6 people just as effectively, if not even more so?
It's all of that. And it's great for parents because parents don't have to be taxiing their children around to all kinds of things. Some children are much more comfortable if they've got anxiety, if they're a bit worried, if they're a bit shy, they can do it in their own homes. And it's just brilliant for their IT skills as well. I mean, their future is going to be meetings that are going to be online. So they're learning all the skills that they will immediately take, into their future lives, into their studies, into their workplace. So there's an awful lot to be said for it. Lots and lots of advantages.
Yeah. And as we're going to learn on the podcast very soon, it's not just meetings like on Zoom. Virtual reality is that next stage, and it's already being used and out there. So yeah, to get comfortable with that as soon as possible. It's just normal for them. The kids these days don't know any different. But as far as they're concerned, it's always been done this way. So it's great that they're comfortable and used to that process. So we can capitalize on that as well.
Yeah, it just has all the advantages. I think also just from a learning point of view, there are some children who are a little bit shy, who wouldn't naturally ask a question, and they get the benefits of listening to the other children ask questions. One of the great things you can do in group tutoring is get the children to explain to each other. And especially if you've got groups where you've got different languages going on, you can do some quick translating. It just makes everything quicker, makes everything easier. So I think groups is definitely the way forward. I would always say there would be a place for one-to-one or maybe just two students together, but it's really allowed tutors to get out there, do what they love doing, and help as many students as they can, because they have a sustainable business model, which at the end of the day was my failure, and we've learned from that. And the members in my membership now know what they're aiming for and are enjoying it. They're really enjoying the groups.
Yeah, I had an online teacher of English for adults that I coached a while ago, and she was very reluctant to move to a group situation because she felt that it wasn't going to have the same quality. But then she tried it, and actually the group loved it so much more because they felt supported by their peers as well. It was really so interesting to see that. And now she's got a much more sustainable business as well, and can help people with the lower income because she can be more flexible with pricing and put in different structures. So it just gives everybody more options, which was nice. So talking about pricing, in the past, tutoring has been seen as just a little thing teachers do on the side. But it sounds like that model is changing now, and it could actually be a sustainable standalone business in its own right. Is that what I'm hearing?
It used to be a little side hustle that teachers would do for a little bit of extra pocket money. They would tutor an hour or two after school. They would go to people's houses. They would spend the money on the travel, on the petrol, on the parking. It would not make them a lot of money. But with the online groups in particular, they don't have any of those extra costs. They don't have to travel. They don't have to have a car. The time has gone when they could only reach the people in their geographical area. If you have online group tutoring and you're charging at a sustainable rate, you can really make it work for you. So I'm looking forward to one of the members in my group building up her group tutoring so that she aims to teach for 3 hours a day. She aims to bring in around about £100 an hour. This will be around 300 a day. If you add that up to what that is in a month, then you start to see a really sustainable income. On top of that, you have got extra things that tutors can do to bring in other income. They can offer training for parents. They can offer consultancy services if they work in an international environment. They can create resources that parents can download. I've got some tutors in the membership who are excellent on Canva, and they're putting all their skills and all their knowledge into the little extra products that they can then offer to their clients as an add-on, which adds value to the client and which adds value to the tutor's business. So it's absolutely moved on from that time when it was a little bit of extra pocket money to an absolutely sustainable business for tutors, which is incredible because it's what tutors are loving about it is very often they are teachers who have been burnt out at school. They know what their students need. They are passionate about their subject. They are experts in their subject. And for them, they say, I can finally teach in the way that I know works best for the children, that works amazingly well for me, and it's just such an amazing win-win. So it really has changed incredibly.
That's great. And I guess the nice thing about online tutoring as well, and you touched on this earlier, is previously you've had to help kids outside school hours. It's a big drawback. You have this small window of when you can teach children, but now online you can teach in different time zones, so you can really pick the time of day that suits you best and match that to whichever country is awake at that time, I suppose.
That's exactly it. The classroom has gone completely global. You can leverage any time zone you like. I mean, obviously, if it works for you. The other thing you can do is you can also record sessions for students to catch up on. If they miss it, the technology is there so that they don't need to miss too much. Tutors in my membership are in London, tutoring in Qatar, they're in Portugal, tutoring in London. You name it. They're also tutoring students just down the road from them, but the parents prefer for them to be online because the parents don't have to do the taxiing. So it's become an absolutely global classroom across all the time zones. Everything is possible. It's amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. So we've touched on pricing. So this is now a sustainable business that could be really interesting for teachers, or even teachers who want to go pro with their tutoring, and that the business model has shifted, that tutoring in groups is really the way to go now, and it has so many advantages doing that. What are some other mistakes that teachers find when they decide to start tutoring?
I think they don't often niche as much as they could do. So some of the tutors who've come into my membership were tutoring secondary school maths. They were doing 11 plus exams. They were doing a little bit of phonics and literacy. They were doing a little bit of history and geography. And I think if you spread yourself too much and too thinly, you end up giving yourself an awful lot of work to do, because you've got to prepare all these different things. You've got to be on top of all these different subjects. So the one thing that we talk about a lot in the membership is niching, and it's really been helpful for some members who just come in and they say, oh, thank goodness I've made the decision to give up maths, or oh, thank goodness I don't have to know the latest 11 plus syllabus. So it really helps them in their focus, and they particularly like it in the membership that I have, because they get all the lessons, they're already prepared, and they actually have a whole wraparound service. All the assessment is there, all the reporting is there, all the lessons are there, all the vocabulary pre-teaching is there, the certificates are there at the end of it. So it's a huge weight off their shoulders not to have to do so much work to prepare their lessons. And it also just helps them in their marketing. They know exactly who they're targeting. They know exactly who their ideal client is. They can put their energy into focusing their message and their communication on exactly the kind of people they would want to work with. Otherwise, they were just chasing their tails, running around trying to be everything to everyone. And it just didn't work.
Yeah, niching really is a game changer in your business. And I guess in the past for tutors, they've had to just adapt to like who was coming to them locally. But now, as you say, they've got this global audience and more opportunity to niche, because they can just focus on one thing, do that exceptionally well, and build up a global business just doing that one thing amazingly.
I mean, the great thing too is you can work with tutors in different niche, and then you build your whole network, and then you can start cross-referring each other, which is an incredible help to have that kind of network, because you build your credentials. If somebody comes to you but you can't help them, you can send them to somebody else, and then if you've done that for somebody else, they send people to you. So it's a great way of networking as well, to niche.
Yeah, so many hidden things that perhaps I wouldn't have thought of that before, but yeah, it makes total sense. So I know for entrepreneurs that have worked in an office environment, then they become entrepreneurs, there were all sorts of challenges making that shift. It's not necessarily an easy one to do. What's it like for teachers transferring to be a tutor? Are there challenges there as well? Or because it's kind of the same thing, is that more of a straightforward process?
The challenge is always, I think, confidence and mindset. And the thing about teachers is they are great tutor business owners, because basically what they have done in their teaching life in the classroom is exactly what they are going to do in their tutoring business. But they think, oh, business is a completely different thing to what I've done before. I'm starting from zero. I can't do any of it. It's all about logos and accounts. But actually, if you think about what it is to be a teacher, you start at the beginning of the year. You know exactly what the whole journey is going to be. You know how you want your year to end up after your students have worked with you. And it's exactly that same business journey. You know methods and the processes that you are going to use and tweak. You know you're going to assess, you know you're going to evaluate, you know you're going to plan. For teachers starting a tutoring business, it's actually a piece of cake, because when we sit together in the membership, we have quarterly planning meetings. I say to everybody, you know what it's like? This is going to be your IEP for your business. And an IEP is an individual education plan where you prioritize your goals, you break them down into smaller steps, you decide how you're going to achieve them, and then you know that you're going to come back and see what worked. And as soon as you start talking to teachers about their business being like the school year, it's like, aha, I actually do have all of those skills. I can get over that mindset block. I can do all the things that I did at school, bring them into my business. And even if I'm feeling a bit institutionalized or a bit de-skilled, or like business is maybe not my thing, it really, really is. And I think that's the thing, to believe in yourself, that you can succeed, that you do have those skills, that you're not starting from zero, you're starting from a whole lot of experience. Then once that mindset block is overcome, it flows pretty easily.
Yeah. I love how you've aligned those two. And you're right, you know, business is all about creating that transformation with your clients and that experience. And so for people who care and are switched on and know their audience, that's pretty straightforward. It just takes a bit of time just to think it through properly. So yeah, it's nice how you've aligned that to what they were already doing in the past. So given that it's actually in reality quite straightforward for teachers to become tutors, is there anything that you see holds people back? Maybe they thought, I'm kind of enjoying teaching, but I'm worn out. I think I could have more impact as a tutor. But is there something typically that stops people making that leap?
I think it's just fear of whether they will be able to make it, and whether they will be able to have the kind of income that they had as teachers. Because like we said before, tutoring was considered to be a little bit of a side hustle, pocket money job for teachers, and it really isn't that anymore. But it's that fear of that regular income, of that structure. Also, I think of losing their identity a bit. Teachers sometimes feel, but I'm a teacher. What else can I do? But they can step into their whole teacher persona so much more on their own terms when they become tutors. And that surprises some of them. And when they realize that, they love it. And also just live life on their own terms a bit more. You don't have to work the kind of hours that you have to work at school. You really can have more time for yourself and just get that work-life balance so much better for you once you've got your business model set up to do that.
Yeah. What sounds interesting from what you're saying is that, you know, you could be a teacher and start building a business with just maybe even one group a week, and start there, learn the skills, see how it goes, and then build that confidence so that you can make a bigger shift in the future. And then you have options, of course.
Exactly that. I have members inside my membership who are doing the really smart thing. They're setting their businesses up now while they're still in the classroom. They can make that transition. Some of them are cutting down to part-time while they build their businesses up. Some of them are doing a few days a week of supply teaching. And I think that's a super smart model, that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't really have to take that massive leap. The great thing about tutoring is you can build it up slowly. Give yourself a choice, you know, when your tutoring business just tips into that business support you can reduce the teaching, and then you can move into it and have a very smooth transition. And I think that is a really smart move to do that. And I've got members in my membership who are doing exactly that.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, Sandra, I've really enjoyed this discussion. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on yet that you think anyone out there listening who's thinking about starting a business or has started a tutoring business and they're thinking, my business doesn't sound like what Sandra's talking about. Is there anything else that you feel that they should know to help them take that next step?
I think what they should do is they should just get started. And to help them get started, if you come and have a look at my website, on the homepage, you will find a little cheat sheet there, which has got 6 tips to help you start your tutoring business. And I think it just might be a little bit easier than you think. I think sometimes we can get a little bit overwhelmed with the unknown, but we've done this, and that cheat sheet will just show you these other things that you need to think about in order, and you can trust the process, and that will be a huge help.
That's very generous of you. And I'll put the link to that in the show notes. But for anyone who's listening to this on the go, can you tell us what that website address is?
You can go to jigsawphonicstutoring.com, and Jigsaw Phonics Tutoring is all one word.
So Jigsaw Phonics Tutoring. There was a little glitch in the recording there. So brilliant. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. I think it's just such an interesting business model. And I think it could bring a lot of, it's kind of a win-win, isn't it? For the tutor, they get to have more impact, they get more income, and the students get more support, and they can go on and have this incredible future, whatever that decides to be. And I think
they get that lovely old-fashioned thing with tutors teaching like it used to be, where they are trusted to do what's really great for their students, and the students love that and the tutors love that. It's really a win-win.
Yeah, fantastic. So people can find you on your website, Jigsaw Tutoring, I've forgotten already.
Jigsawphonicstutoring.com.
Yeah. Is there any other way, if someone wants to connect with you and have a bit of a conversation about this, is that the best place for them to connect with you?
They can connect with me there through the contact page. You can come and have a chat with me over on Instagram at Jigsaw Phonics Tutoring. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find me on Facebook, but you'll find everything through the website on the contact page.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put all those links so people have lots of options. They can come and hang out with you wherever they're hanging out. And thanks again, Sandra. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have enjoyed the show, then I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes to help more women find the show and benefit from the incredible business building wisdom shared. And why not encourage more women to rise alongside you by sharing this episode with 5 of your business besties? There are more tools, tips, and insights coming up for you in the next episode, so don't miss next week's show, or better still, subscribe now so you never miss your weekly dose of inspiration. And remember, if you are looking to take your business and impact to the next level over the summer, apply to be one of the 10 business owners I'll be guiding to up-level not just their business and plans and programs and all of that, but also their mindset, that crucial part that Sandra was just explaining about that will help you fly or fail in your business. If that sounds interesting to you, you can learn more and register at my website, melittacampbell.com/SBC. As I said, this offer is limited just to the first 10 who apply. So head on over there today to secure your place for just £297 when the full program is 15 times that price. So do not miss out on this opportunity to join me this summer in July and August. It's a 6-week program, and in just minutes a day, I'll show you how you can up-level your business and mindset. So that's melittacampbell.com/SBC. I've been your host, Melitta Campbell, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode.